I haven't asked you before, but do you actually script a hard script?
I do. I mean, it's everyone has their own way of doing it. I think most people do it in the NFL. Kyle would script 30 plays and call about 10 of them. Everyone does it their own way, but it allows everyone to preview kind of where your mind is and what's going to happen early. Most weeks, it's in between 12 to 15 plays. Last week was a lot different. It's hard to script for someone like Green Bay because they're so multiple in defensive personnel, and you're unsure how they're going to play you and your different personnel groups. And last week he chose to play with a ton of DBs on the field, so you had to be fluid last week with which direction it was going to eventually evolve to.
I don't know if you're aware of it. Going back to last year, there were 4 losses at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
7-game losing streak. This offense hasn't scored more than 16 points.
It's not good.
I was going to say, as the offensive coordinator this year, does that bother you?
Yeah, absolutely bothers me. I mean, every game is won differently. In the end, yeah, you got to score points, and it's I can stand up here and make all the excuses I want for what the final outcome has been. What I do believe is last year's last year, this year's this year. These guys play hard, and the reality of it is every week has its own story. We've played 2 outstanding defenses in a row. I mean, it is what it is. But in the end, we all can look at this game and we know why we lost. You don't have to overthink it. It is what it is. You turn the ball over in the NFL, you don't win. It's what I stood up here and said last week is everything. And you rectify that, you beat a very, very good football team. And we did not do that. We gave it away, and the result was less points and a loss.
Is it a little quirkier in that you've had so many long drives, but you don't have the touchdowns to show for it?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously the touchdown thing is, when you're having to earn it, you don't get the explosives that finish with touchdowns, it is hard. I honestly, we've had a lot of long fields. I'm not making excuses, but that's part of it. So when you stay on schedule, it creates longer drives. But in the end, you want to score on a big play and you want to have a guy go all the way, and you want to get it the easy one and not have to earn it in the red zone every time. But when you look at why we haven't finished in the red zone here or there, it's been various reasons. But I felt last week we were in the red zone. We had the right plan. We were on it. We had an unfortunate play get called back. But outside of that, I thought in the red zone we did a nice job.
Any plan to get Emmanuel Sanders more involved than just the 4 targets you saw last week?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he's one of our primary weapons, and you saw what he did the week before against Chicago. Unfortunately, different style of game, different play. Things play out differently. Obviously, he was the primary, probably more than any guy on the field in that whole game. It just didn't work out that way. They chose to match a corner and play man on him. It disrupted the timing of the entire rhythm to get him the ball. And when you're facing a multiple coverage defense is playing 5 and 6 DBs like that, and they're willing to try and take someone like Emmanuel because they show him that respect away, it can disrupt the timing of the pass game. But other than that, absolutely. We feed off of his energy, and he is very, very critical to our success.
Earlier this week, you flipped out Fred Brown and River Craycraft and then added Trinity Benson. On the surface, it seems like a kind of a speed move, a move for more speed.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, again, we're kind of in a unique situation because we're suiting up 5 receivers, and that's low. And then one of them is a punt returner who hasn't been here very long, and so each week his volume is going up as he learns the offense. But initially, he hasn't, had as much. He's just late to the whole situation. So that being said, you have to balance the guys you suit up with what we need to be successful. And River was very valuable, but as a backup at every position, smart player, slot, all that. In this case right now, you want physical guys, speed. Cortland and Emmanuel are playing a lot of plays, and we've had games where we've played a high amount of plays more than usual, and that will add up over the course of a season, and we have to be mindful of that.
How has Noah Fant performed compared to your expectations for him going into the season?
He's probably performed exactly about what I would have expected. Flashes of greatness, flashes of good, and flashes of bad. Again, I've said this a few times. I don't want to make it sound like they're the same player because it reminds me of Kittle. But George's first year in the league, I think he led the NFL in drops. He was a liability in the run game at times. He would break the huddle and be unsure. We ask more of our tight ends than any other position outside of the quarterback. They need to know the run game, pass protection, and they have to be pass route runners. And when they practice, that means they fatigue because they run routes and they block like a lineman. All that adds up and accumulates on a guy when he plays a lot of reps, especially when they're a rookie and they're learning the league. That's the trickle-down effect. You know, that's what happens when a guy gets loose with the ball or tries to do too much. The finer things aren't there. A year from now, he'll be a completely different player, and you hope that he's like the Kittle, and he's confident and he breaks down. Could that happen this week and get better and better? Absolutely, and that's the goal.
Do you have to keep him on the field, though, because of those flashes and kind of just live with that?
Yeah, I mean, he just brings so much good to the table, too. You want that out there. I mean, he's dynamic. He's got speed. You saw it on the couple of catches. He caught one little seam, was a great play. He's a physical run blocker. So, yeah, that's why he's here. He's got those traits, and the more he plays, the better he will get. But it is a balancing act.
There's been a lot of conversation about the chunk plays, specifically in the passing game. Is there a concern on your end that facing Jacksonville's front, that maybe, Joe, this is not the game where you want to hold the ball a little bit too long just to get those big chunk plays in the passing game?
Yeah, I mean, again, every game is different in how you win, and we've kind of gotten murderer's row some defenses the last couple weeks, and moving forward, we've played some darn good defenses. I mean, they smothered Houston. They smothered Mariota in Tennessee. Their front is very, very talented. Calais Campbell is one of the better players in this league and has been for a long time. And he's relentless, and he's a great player. So you have to be mindful of those things and be tactful. And last week we took our shots, and we were tactful when we could be. The play that I regret the most and that I own is the sack fumble at the end of the half. That was a one-on-one we knew we were getting. It was 5-hitch throw, and we thought the ball was going to come out, and I called the play, and it's on me. And that's the shot you take, and a good pass rush can get you, and that's what happened, and you have to avoid those situations. If you avoid that, we can win a football game. If you don't, you're going to lose a football game.
How'd you feel Garrett Bowles responded to the multiple holding penalty games?
I think he did a much better job. I think he was all week in practice. He's trying to be mindful of it. It hasn't been that we haven't been coaching it, but he's been really thinking hard about it and trying to be creative on how we coach him. And Mike has had a real good plan with that. And moving forward, we hope he can continue to do that. And if he does that, he's going to be a great tackle in this league for a long time.
Time for a couple more, guys. Have you seen in your career an offensive lineman pick up his running back, carry him?
It was one of the cool plays you'll ever see. Like, Dalton he's a great special guy. Like, he's a real dynamic person, and he kind of shows up in his play. Like, he's the lineman that's always down the field picking up the running back. He's a finisher. And then that play when you needed him most to watch him just finish. It was a great run by Lindsey to begin with to get where he had to get, and then to make him score on an extra effort that it was just innate. It was pretty cool to watch, and it says a lot about Dalton, and it's who he is.
Rich, if Jalen
Last one,
Ramsey isn't there Sunday, what, if anything, does that change for him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm presuming that, the assumption all along is that he's going to be there. Whether he flies in on Sunday, until you see that final inactive list, you assume he's going to be there. And, obviously he's a great player in this league, so he does change the dynamics of everything. But you have to plan as if he's going to be there, and that's what we'll move forward doing.